Thank you so much for all the support you gave me, guys.
Okay.
Today, I got promoted.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Welcome to Living Gets Real. I am Ashwini Vedakan. Joining us on this week's episode, we have Natasha Senanayake. But before we get into the show, here's a little sneak peek into her life. Welcome to Living Gets Real, Natasha.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So now, if you had 60 seconds on the clock, which 5 words would you use to best describe yourself?
I would say foodie,
Okay.
nerd,
Okay.
empath,
Okay.
passionate,
Okay.
and creative.
Creative.
Yeah.
Nice. Now let's talk about your journey into music. How did that start? Was this a profession you always wanted to do, or did you just stumble into it?
Definitely didn't stumble into it. I started when I was 4 years old, and I was learning piano when I was 4, and I was very serious about the piano for a while. And so we did, followed the routine, the graded exams, and my grandfather played a very significant role in my life apart from my parents, who he really pushed me and made sure I practiced and all of that. We come from a family of musicians. So because of that, it's been part of my life since I was very young.
Nice. And where does your strength actually lie? Is it in being a lyricist, a composer, or in singing itself?
I would say it's in being a composer.
Okay.
I think from about the age of 4 to about 16, I think I was more of a pianist.
Okay.
And that's what I really focused on. There were times when I, practiced 6 hours a day before my piano exams. I worked hard at piano than at school. But that slightly changed later after about 16, when I started discovering my interest in writing music. And I feel like it made me feel like very much like myself. And another reason I wanted to start composing was because I felt it brought out my personality and I could express myself in ways that I couldn't in other avenues. So I became very curious about composing.
Okay.
So while I did play piano and sang and did a whole bunch of other music related things, I would say at the moment composing music and being a composer is my main strength.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to composing, could you walk us through your creative process? How does that happen?
Yeah, sure. It's really interesting because I don't have one single creative process that works every time.
Okay.
It changes according to the project that I'm working on. And most often I start by listening to composers and listening to music that exists that really inspire me. Sometimes it's not listening to music, sometimes it's watching a movie or reading a book, to just feel inspired by something that somebody else has created. And I do a lot of research as well, depending on what I write about, what I'm about to write about. And then I have this funny, strange process of going for about 2 or 3 weeks without writing anything down on paper.
Okay.
Because it's all sort of working in my head. And outsiders could easily think that I'm procrastinating, and because my deadline would be just a week away, and I wouldn't have written a thing. But what they don't realize is that for at least 2 to 3 weeks before, I would have been thinking about it, so that when I do sit and write, it's a very quick process. I write very quickly, but it's because I had been formulating my thoughts and ideas for such a long time. Of course, if I have the luxury of time to work on something.
Yeah.
If it's a quick and a short deadline, I work well under pressure anyway. and I speed up that process.
Okay.
Finding inspiration, thinking of things that inspire me, going back and listening. Sometimes I study, analyze existing scores and songs, and then I get into what I want to do.
Nice. So what do you think about the local music scene? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Sri Lanka as a country, as an island nation, has extremely talented musicians. And I believe, especially when our artists go outside of the country, that's very visible how well they all do and how hardworking our artists are. And so I think that there is a lot of great potential for the local Sri Lankan industry, and it's an exciting time to be exposed to the local industry as well. It's an exciting time to be a musician because I feel more and more Sri Lankans are putting themselves as musicians on the map globally, and I think that we need more of that. So it's really great to see.
Nice.
Yeah.
If you could collaborate with a local artist, who would you pick?
That's a really good question. There are some really wonderful local artists that I've already had the pleasure of collaborating with. I think I would pick this band called Alien Accent.
Okay.
They no longer play regularly together, but they were a band that really inspired me growing up.
Okay.
Because they had incredible original songs that had an influence of Sri Lankan traditional music as well, and they had a lot of fusion in their concerts, and I used to go to all of their concerts, and they were really an inspiration to me growing up when I was just starting to be a composer.
Yeah.
So if I could pick to collaborate, I would love to collaborate with them.
Now you have gained quite a lot of recognition, and namely you're winning the Commonwealth Music Competition and then becoming the Commonwealth Music Ambassador. You're the resident music director for Theatre Junction, and you've also you've had your composition play by the Commonwealth Youth Orchestra. Yeah. So what do you have next? What's next for you?
I love music in movies, and I love film music, and film music is something I have always been really fascinated in.
Okay.
And I think one of the reasons that I decided to study composition is so that I would have the knowledge one day to write for a film.
Oh.
So I have already started the process. I have done a few short films, and I'm continuing to write music for some short films. I feel what would be next for me
Is a feature film.
Yes, I would love to write for a big film one day, and I love music for movies, so that's definitely one thing that I would like to work on, and I have plans on working on.
Lovely.
Yes.
Well, we've actually reached the end of our burning segment, but Natasha,
Sure.
we have a game for everyone who sits in your chair.
Sure.
Okay, are you ready for your game?
Why not? Let's do it.
We'll be back with Natasha's game after a short word from our sponsors.
You love the feeling of being renewed. To protect the things most precious to you. To stay beautiful every single day. To breathe just like we do, because you are truly delicate. Protecting the ones who've been with us through the years. With Sayalac Care, the only wood coating that truly protects you. Sayalac Wood Coatings from Jat.
Welcome back to the show as we continue our conversation with Natasha Senanayake. Natasha, are you ready for your game?
Sure.
For you, we have a game of Never Have I Ever.
Okay.
Now you have the board. You hold it up if you have done it or if you have not done it.
Okay, sure.
Right. Never have I ever faked illness to stay from work. Okay. Have you ever cheated on a test? Okay. Marched in a protest.
Oh.
Okay. Peed in the swimming pool. Now
till now.
Now our students know this.
Oh no. My students watch this. Will probably watch this. Okay.
Fallen asleep at work. Fallen asleep in public. Lied on your resume. Drunk dialed an ex. Played hooky from school.
What does that mean?
You cut school when you were in school.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay. Stolen anything? You'd be surprised how many times I get this up.
A friend made me steal something from a. Never mind. But yeah, I have.
Okay. Missed a flight?
I almost did.
Almost did, okay. Lied to law enforcement. To a cop.
Probably too scared to.
Got a tattoo?
I have not.
Re-gifted a gift. Troll someone on social media.
I guess. Must have. Probably.
Okay. Climbed out of a window. Is there ever an instance where you have to run out of someone's house?
Remember.
Have not. Okay. Driven over a curb.
Can't drive.
Ever laughed so hard you peed your pants as an adult?
Happily, no. I have not.
Well, that was fun.
That was a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much, Ashwini, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And that's all the time we have for you this week. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram to catch the latest episodes of Living Gets Real. I'd also like to take this time to mention that this will be my last show with Living Gets Real for season 2. But do watch out for the latest episodes and stay in touch on Instagram and Facebook.